Hi, this is Sheila and welcome to my YouTube studio. Today we're going to be doing something a little different. I usually do cards, but I happened to see this really cute and unique 3D project. I think it was on France Martin's channel, and she had dedicated it to Dawn, one of her downlines that had made this box, and I just thought it was so cute. So it's got the little belly band that comes off. And the magical part of this box is you open it up and you have a nice little box here. You can roll up money and put in there. You can do the nugget candies and wrap them with designer paper and place it in there. And then you have another compartment. Look at that. Isn't that sweet? Alright, so you have two areas you can hide some little goodies, and these make great, especially if you have a small business, is to make several of these and pack them together with some thank you little tokens to give to your customers. So let's go ahead and move this one off to the side and bring in the pieces that we're going to be needing for today's box. Alright, so today we're going to be making in a little bit different color, so I'm going to get all of my pieces out here and then we'll go over the measurements. And here, and here. Okay, so the base of the box is 4.5 by 5 1/4. You're going to score on the 5 1/4 side. Let's bring the trimmer in. And we're going. Okay, on your you've got this one piece, and it is 5 1/4 by 4.5. You're going to line it up to the 5 1/4 side, and you're going to start scoring. Your first score is going to be at 5/8 inch, and remember, when you're working with 16ths, which our trimmers are set up for, it's the 2 marks before your 3/4 inch. That's, to me, one of the easiest ways to remember that particular measurement. Alright, then we're going to go to your 1 1/4. So let's go here to 1 1/4. And then we're going to go to 4 inches. And I'll have all of this on a PDF, so you don't have to write down the inches unless you just want to. Okay, we're going to go to 4 5/8 now for our last one on that particular side. Now we're going to go to our 4.5. We're again going to start at 5/8. We're going to go to 1 1/4. Now you're going to go to 3 1/4. And then you're going to go to 3 7/8. Okay, so we've got this all scored and the way we want it. Okay, now we're going to go ahead. This is our mechanisms that will make the top flip areas. So we're going to go ahead and go in and... Alright, your mechanism piece measures 2 3/4 by 4 5/8, and on the 4 5/8 side we're going to score at 5/8, which is getting you accustomed to several 5/8 inch cut scoring, and then we're going to score it at 2 5/8. So let's go ahead and bring it to the 2 5/8. Alright, that should be all the cutting and scoring, I believe, for right now. So let's go ahead and move these over. And as I go to use each piece that I haven't already shown you, I'll give you the measurements at that time. So today we want to cut this, and when we cut it, as you can see, it might be a little bit hard to see on the white. You have 4 little blocks here, which are represented where I've cut that off. And so you're going to come up on the side, and you're going to cut on the other side of that score line. That way you get a nice little cut there. Okay, and then you're going to come and let's go ahead and cut across and take the bottoms off because we don't need these two. So again, I'm going to cut right above the score line. And then we're going to come up here and add a little bit of an angle so we can put our wedge in. We're going to cut in to the score line. And then on this side here, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to cut in at a little bit of an angle and give us a wedge. This allows your pieces to fit nicely whenever you're getting ready to adhere them. Okay, so the only other thing that we need to do is, as you can see, we've got this now, is we want to also cut at an angle this piece and this piece. Okay, so now you get that nice little cut areas that will fit real nicely. So let's go ahead and do the other ones, and I'll speed this up just a little bit. Alright, so now we have these ready and we can start putting our boxes together. It's really important when you're doing your boxes to get a good burnishing on your score lines. And so let's go ahead and do that. We'll do this one together, and then I'm going to speed it up to put the second one to piece together so you don't have to wait so long on it. Okay, so our first items that we want to do is to place in, looks like I need to score this maybe, or trim this just a little bit more at an angle. Make sure I get a nice little fold there. Alright, so we're going to put our adhesive, and I like to use the liquid glue for this. Now you do have to kind of hold it a little bit to give it time to set in, but I like to bring these in, and I'm going to bring them in and make sure that you squared it off nicely. Look at your other side there, make sure you're getting a good square. The nice thing about your liquid glue is you can leave this for a couple of seconds without the other piece drying on you either. So you just want to hold them long enough to make sure that they catch and make sure that they're squared off. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our other side the same way. Put us a little dab of glue here to hold your corner tabs. Okay, again we want to square them off. This takes a little bit of extra time. You could use your tear and tape, and you could use your Stampin' Seal. I think both of those definitely would be strong enough. I just like the idea of having that little extra time so that I get it squared nicely and won't get my boxes off. So now it's time to put down these particular flaps here. So on these I'll go ahead and use a little bit of my tear and tape to hold them. You can again use your glue if you'd like. Well, let's go ahead, since we're using glue, let's go ahead and do it. And I do like to use my bone folder to make sure I burnish the insides and make sure that that adhesive goes evenly over my flaps there. Okay. Let's go ahead and do this one. Get these out of the way there. Okay. I've gotten some ink on this particular bone folder. I need to get it cleaned up because it is bringing a little bit of the ink on, I noticed, to the paper, but that'll be in the inside and won't show, so that won't be too bad. So we're going to bring down this side here. And get you a nice little sealing going there, and a little bit on that side there, and bring it in. And these are pretty snug, so it should go in and work just like a glove. Fits just right. Okay, and here's our first little side box here. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to speed it up while we do the second one. Alright, so now we've got our two boxes. This one little piece wants to be stubborn about staying down, so let me go ahead and give it a little bit more of a push there. Okay, so let's go ahead and put these aside for just a second and bring in our top and bottom pieces. Your top and bottom piece, they're going to measure 2 1/4 by 5 7/8, and you've got two of them. Now your bottom won't need any DSP, but your top will. And this particular one I have measured, and you could put a second layer there, which I did on one of my others, but this time I am going to put it in there. Okay, so we have a matting on this particular one, and the matting piece, which is made of our cherry cobbler, that particular one is measuring at 2 1/8 by 5 3/4. And then our DSP, which is our beautiful, let me bring it over real quick. It's called Lights Aglow, and it has beautiful, beautiful cardstock in it. DSP in it. This is one side which I'm going to use, but they also have this real pretty side here as well. And this particular one, I'm not doing a Christmas theme on it, so that's why I decided I wouldn't do the little snow, what reminds me of snowflakes and in the gold. So again, we're going to go ahead and adhere the top layers. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, let's go ahead and put our DSP on it. I believe the technique that's showing on this DSP is called bokeh. I've done that before, and it's a very pretty technique. Alright, so this is our top. We can set this one aside. Alright, so our bottom pieces are going, the bottom piece here, the two little boxes here are going to fit on that evenly as you can get them. So what I like to do is put together first my two pieces here, and we're going to go ahead and do that again with the liquid adhesive, and only because that'll give me room to kind of adjust my two pieces to make sure that I've got them nice and balanced together. So we're going to go ahead and hold those together here for a second. In fact, I've not used them before, but I picked these up, I think, at the Dollar Tree the other day. So we're going to clamp those real quickly there in place. Get one more. And those seem to hold up real nicely. That was probably a good find, and a good buy. Okay, so I'm going to help it along by holding it just here. Okay, I think we're good there. Now we're going to add adhesive to the bottom of this, and that's where our bottom layer will come on and support the two boxes. Okay, and what I'm doing is eyeing the bottom to see that I get it pretty well balanced on each end and on each side. And then you want to press down and let that catch. And again, your bone folders are great for spreading your adhesive. So let's do that. Okay, since I've only done this one other time, I'm kind of looking at my other box to make sure that I get this correct, okay? So now we want to bring our clips off. I think it's adhered enough. And go ahead and do our flaps. I know that I can, and once I know which way this box is going, because that's the tricky part of it. This is acting a little bit tight. Let me make sure my measurements on these were 2. It should have been 2 1/4. I'm going to need to sliver off just a little bit on this. The box may have kind of tightened in a little bit on me. So I'm going to go ahead and sliver off and make sure. Maybe I see if we were at 2 3/4 here. We are, but I'm going to take probably 1/8 of an inch off here. Let's see how that. The other thing that I could, but this does seem to fit better, and let me go ahead and, because this is going to fit in like so, and then lay down like so. Okay, so just to see, because I got off a little bit on that, I'm going to see what happens if I just trim off these at an angle and see if this will fit in there nicer and still give me a snug fit. It does. So if by taking that 1/8 of an inch off, you'll notice, and I'm going to leave it like this so you can see, it does give it a nice fit when you slide it down in there, but you can see the edge of the box, and I don't know that that really matters one way or the other, but I'm going to go ahead and go along with just trimming the edges, and we'll see how it affects the box as we finish it. So again, like I said, this is my only second time for making this, so I'm still a little bit new at even teaching y'all how to do it, but it's fairly easy. It's just more probably steps. Now I could have put, and I probably should have, it makes it easier, is to put the DSP that we're going to be putting on top of these. And these particular DSPs, they measure 1 3/4 by 2.5 inches, and you'll need 6 of them. Now the thought is on most of these you could flip-flop the designer paper. This is going to be your top lid, so you're not going to put any there, but let's say for example you can put one there. You'll put one here on the outside. You'll put one here on the outside, and then you're going to put one here on the top. Now if you wanted to, you could do another piece and maybe put a message on this, or you could stamp it before you folded it and placed a message inside there as well. So there's different ways that you can do this. Let's go ahead and adhere my inside piece. And by taking off that little sliver of a 1/16 of an inch, I took off my side borders by doing that. So that would be another reason, just to angle your little edges here like we do in a box, and that way it fits a little snugger and looks better. Okay, and remember this is going to be what opens up, so we want to put one here and one there. So let's go ahead and do that. Now you'll probably see it when we put together the other side that we're going to get a nicer fit of borders around it. But I'm kind of, in a way, glad that happened, so you can kind of see from my own mistakes and how I should have fixed it, opposed to how I did fix it on one side, what you can do in situations like that. Okay, the whole idea of this is, remember that these have to be opposite to each other as you're putting them together. Okay, so make sure that otherwise your little magic won't work when you go to put your lid on. Okay, and since this is the front, we can put one here. And as you'll see now, there's that 1/16 of an inch border that the other one didn't get because of me trimming that down. So just remember, leave your measurements as they are. There was a reason for them. And then just trim the piece that goes into the box, trim it down so that it fits nicely. So you could put all kinds of little messages by stamping on your DSP for someone, so that each time they open up an area, then they're going to get to see that new message. Okay, so let's go ahead and adhere our top lid on. And again, we're going to be placing the lid right on top of here. So this is where I want my adhesive to be. And this probably is taking a little bit longer than I'd like it to, but usually 3D items do take a little bit of extra. Now what I'm doing here is making sure my top and bottom pretty well line up so that I framed my two boxes really well. And again, just run that bone folder across there and give that a couple of minutes while it adheres. Okay, so let's set that aside. Now we need to score our belly band, and we're going to take our belly band, and it measures, and you could put this is DSP, but I decided to go ahead and use my cardstock instead of it because of the way I'm decorating it. So we want to score on the 6 3/4 side at 1 1/8. Let's get that cutter out of the way there. Make sure I'm on the 8. There I am. Okay. And then we want to bring it to the 1 7/8. Four 1/8, and 4 7/8. Alright, so let's bring this around. Okay, so your belly band's going to go right around here, and let's go ahead and burnish our score line so we get a nice crisp fit. Okay, so we'll just put a little adhesive right in this area here. And allow that to dry. Alright, so now we're going to flip this over. And what I did for today is I'm using the Apple Harvest stamp set. Just love this one. Just got it in. And then I'm going to use the punch. Let me show you if I've got it out. Well, I do apologize. I don't have my pieces out in front of me so I can show you what punch it was. But it's one of our newer ones. I believe it's a label one that goes with one of our stamp sets that is called Handmade Wishes. Yes, here it is. It's the punch that goes with the Handmade Wishes. Look at some of those pretty, pretty signs. Now what my plans are with this box is I'm going to make a little tag that'll attach to this once I've assembled it. But I thought that this, we'll see how it looks. Which way? Straight on there, because I am using different reds. That kind of brings it up. Or should I give the white background? I kind of like it without the background on it. So we're going to go ahead and use the dimensionals, and I'll go ahead and use the black one since this I'm working with dark. Away from the sides it will look nice, and that should do it. Alright, there we go. Cute. Okay, so let's go ahead and slide this off. And like magic, you've got two sides that open up to reveal. And that looks like I need to let this dry a little bit longer because it is still a little tacky on this edge here. Alright, I'll show you the finished products and the pictures at the end. So let's go ahead and put these back together, and that'll allow that top to also dry while we've done that. Let's go ahead and put our belly band back on. And bring our other one over that we did before this. And there we go. Well, thank you for stopping in today. Happy stamping, and God bless. Until next time.